Being outside is good for us. It's that simple. And trails make it easy for us to walk, bike, and be active outside in our own backyards. On the trail, we see people moving, connecting with their communities, making the places where they live great. For 40 years, Rails to Trails Conservancy has led the way, creating trails across the country, making it safer and easier for everyone to get outside. They want you to get involved. Find your trail and start your journey today at railstotrails.org/iHeart and follow at Rails to Trails on social.
Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who is helping me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature Jim Anderson, who discusses with us his business venture of a time back when he was doing just great as the CEO of an information technology business. Then the economy changed and various things happened. He lost his business. He financially became devastated. His wife and business partner divorced him. He went through a very traumatic time of he had the confidence to start the business and do extremely well in it. But through this devastating time of losing the business and losing his wife, he lost his confidence. By his testimony, it took him several years to recover from this, but to his credit, he is not claiming to be a victim. Rather, he's a victor over his situation. Marty, it's an inspiring story of our listeners can learn from Jim and how to overcome some devastating consequences, not taking on the victim role, but rather the victor. What are some takeaways where our listeners can gain from Jim's testimony?
James did go through a lot, and you have to give him credit for going after the help that he needed, but he also talked about the lessons he learned, and now he is helping small businesses connect the dots to financial and other things that they need to be able to keep a business going. But he mentioned Joseph, and we are studying Joseph, and my thought was, when he mentioned Joseph and all Joseph went through, and he said, these are the lessons I learned. But in Joseph gave credit to God by saying, but God, which means, to me, God had a plan, not only for Joseph, but for James.
Despite the trauma Jim went through, he gives credit to God bringing him through this. It's a great testimony. Let's listen and learn together. Jim, it's great to have you with us. Our listeners are going to be very interested in how you recovered from, maybe pivoted from losing a business. And some of our listeners are experiencing that now. Any number of things may have caused it, but any number of things might have resulted in having to make a pivot, make a change, and you've gone through it. Our listeners can learn a lot from you, Jim. You may have had to go through some sort of emotional trauma, maybe financial as well, and our listeners will benefit from just how you made that. I would suppose you're now on the good side of having made that transition, but you maybe learned from a very difficult situation. But Jim, it's great to have you with us.
Yeah, good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Jim, can you walk us through what it was you experienced? We don't need intimate detail, but just kind of maybe a 30,000-foot view of what it was you experienced. And then we're very interested in knowing how you made it through, recovered from what you had to endure.
Well, first of all, it was an information technology trainer business. I was one of the first 100 Microsoft certified trainers and certified NetWare instructors nationwide back in the early 90s. And people like me were in short supply. So it was real easy to start this business. And I had a partner who was absolutely top notch in sales that came from her position at IBM, worked with me as a partner and built this. We grew it grew like a weed. She had relationships in the industry that were just fantastic, and it was a great business. I didn't know anything about being a CEO of a company, but I found myself in that position almost immediately. I had a business degree. They didn't teach me anything about this job, so I hadn't a clue what I needed to do. And so I picked up a book. I don't know if you ever heard of the book, The E-Myth. Read that book and ended up, the author of that book was Michael Gerber. He was not too far down the road from me. We were living in California. He was in Petaluma, California. And so I met him. He became a mentor of mine through his E-Myth Academy. And I learned how to be a CEO. I learned all the details. It was great, except for one thing, competitive strategy and a competitive advantage. He didn't teach anything on that. It was mostly management level kind of entrepreneurial stuff for small businesses. And I was in an industry that's fast moving, and we were the second largest company in our niche within 5 years, and we were a quality leader. It was a great company. We had we treated their employees the best in the industry. We were known for quality. And then just to fast forward, that you got the foundation, in 2001, we got hit with the dot-com bomb. My general manager comes into my office third week of January. I can't remember the exact date now, but I can remember it was the third week of January, 2001. Comes in my office, says, "James, we have a problem," and explains to me what's happening with our customer base. We had training centers all across the nation. All of them at one time were experiencing the same thing. Their customer base, which were internet-based companies at the time that were exploding, in the 90s, were hurting because investors were pulling their money out. They were tired of waiting for profits. It all happened at one time. So we have millions of dollars out in receivables out to all these companies, and they stop paying their bills almost immediately because they can't schedule any classes. Their customers are no longer in business. They're not collecting from them. So we're not collecting from our customers. So what happens? We don't have any cash. Within 30 days, we're over $1 million upside down in cash. And this was a lesson that I did not learn in business school about how to deal with this kind of thing. And Fortunately, I had done a good job in setting up the corporation and, all the stuff that we did there. So I got, the legal help I got was fantastic. We didn't have to file bankruptcy or anything like that, but we did downsize the business. But the industry went through a major shift, and I wasn't ready for it strategically. So the lesson that I hear, and this is what drives me and what I do today, that if you don't have cash, you're not in business. This is something that everybody needs to know, and they don't recognize it. I've worked with small businesses for over 30 years, and they don't even get cash. They get their profit and their P&L statement and maybe a balance sheet. And maybe they do that once a month if they're really good at it, but they don't get the cash flow statement. Most important statement of all, and they don't even look at it. They don't even care. What they do is they look at the bank account. Well, even though my business degree was in finance, I still didn't fully understand the gravity of that. So we were essentially out of business overnight because of what happened with the market like that. So I had a big ego because I had been so successful. Mm-hmm. And another thing is, I'm a follower of Christ, a believer. I wanted to be an example of a high level integrity business run by a Christian leader. And suddenly I had no integrity. Why? Because I didn't have any money anymore. Mm-hmm. I couldn't fulfill my commitments. And that was really hard to take. So I ended up losing, not only as we downsized the business, not only did I lose the business, I lost my reputation in the industry. My partner at the time was my wife, and I lost her as well in this process because of the stress levels of dealing with downsizing the business, especially after we hit 9/11 that same year. In our business, we had trainers on planes every single day. In fact, we were doing so much business, we had our own internal travel agency.
Wow. And
so we had trainers on planes going everywhere every day. And 9/11 happened. We're already downsizing the business, trying to work out things with everybody. Our trainers, we got to get them paid. We got to collect from companies that are going out of business. And then that happens. And so I lost the marriage. And things really went downhill. I had to, I didn't lose my faith, but I lost all my confidence. I lost everything. I felt like I was losing everything. I had also lost I almost had enough money for retirement, and I lost 70% of that in the stock market during the same period of time. And so I'm really in the dumps by now. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wanted to get out of the IT industry. It had driven me crazy because it was fast moving, hard to keep up with. And I had nowhere to go because I hadn't been strategic enough with the business before. I just recently, and I was reading scripture about this recently, and I actually made a video about this on my YouTube channel. In Daniel 41, who was it? Joseph had to interpret a dream for the Pharaoh, and it was about fat cows and skinny cows, and the skinny cows ate the fat cows. And what that was during abundance, you got these fat cows, and during the famine, you got the skinny cows. Well, the skinny cows representing the famine ate up all of the abundance from the abundant period. And the message was that Joseph says we need to store up for famine so we can get through the famine. Well, I was living high on the hog during the 90s, and I didn't prepare myself for the dip, for the famine. So my skinny cow came and took my business, ate my business up. So that's something that I want to help people with today. I mean, it's given me a new sense of purpose. This is something they don't teach in business school, and it's principle that we need to learn. Well, I got a lot of counseling during that period of time, and I ended up going to seminary. I was going to become, going to seminary, going to ministry full time, and I tried to do that, and I couldn't pay the bills, so I had to keep consulting. I started working with the other small business owners doing cleanup. I found a lot of other business. I mean, I built our accounting department from scratch, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think it was a big deal. Just got QuickBooks and started doing, and since I was a finance major, I knew accounting. But working with other small business owners, they're not paying any attention to their money. They're not even keeping very good books. Hiring these people that don't know a debit from a credit, and they put them in front of QuickBooks, and then they start just recording transactions. And so there was a lot of cleanup to do. So I found a new thing for me to do, which to help other small business owners clean up their books. And got into the accounting, doing that over time. But I'm a strategic guy. I'm not a tactical guy. I think strategically, and the best job I ever had in my life was the CEO of that company. And the things that I learned there, I loved learning all of that stuff and doing what I needed to do there. But my confidence was gone. So I just kept. That's how I got through the day. We settled our divorce and I moved on. I just started being a consultant, an independent bookkeeping, accounting consultant, so to speak, and working with small business owners. And nobody told me that I wouldn't be able to find a job after owning a business for 10 years. And that's because if I let them know that I owned a business and how successful I was at it, they wouldn't hire me because they would be afraid I would steal their business. So it was a real struggle. And I had to go through, like I said, I just went through a lot of counseling just to kind of get a new purpose in life. And that's how I got through it. It was my faith and being willing to get help and recognizing where I failed. And it's not that I was a failure. I figured out I wasn't a failure. I was actually a tremendous success, because the more business owners I met, the more I realized how much further ahead I was in what I was doing. Just because I went out of business doesn't mean I didn't have a great business. There was a flaw, and happened to be a fatal one. And I think that this principle of, the skinny cow is going to come, and understanding that I can help small business owners in that area prepare for the famine.
Jim, let me ask at this
Sure.
point that several questions come to mind. How long, just your guess, did it take you to recover? You lost your confidence and so forth. How long would you guess it took you to recover from that I'm not a failure kind of thing, to where you could confidently restart life, having gone through a divorce, financial failing, to your credit, you said you did not have to declare bankruptcy, or you vowed you would not. I would, in your response, I'm going to just tell our listeners, Marty and I are faith-based along with you. Jesus Christ is our Lord and Savior. So in whom he is the person in whom we put our total trust and guidance. Jim, I'm just curious how long did it take for you to become a whole person, if that would be the appropriate term?
Well, it took years. I got into my new career path and built my confidence back client by client. It started out where I went to work for Robert Half International. So, like I said, I'm not a salesperson, and I lost my sales person. So I needed somebody to help me find work. So I went to work as a temp for Robert Half, and they got into their program where they hire you full-time on staff, and then they put you out on long-term kind of temp positions. And when clients began to see the skill level that I had, because I dumbed down my resume to be able to get work, when I started working for them, and I'm working for these small business owners, and they started seeing that I had skills that they didn't know about, that started helping me build my confidence, because I was being able now to solve some problems for some small business owners that they didn't anticipate needing to be solved. And then when they recognized them, and then I was able to help them with that, that was a big boost.
I'm going to read into what you're saying, Jim. That certainly correct me if I'm wrong with this. When you mentioned earlier, you're a strategic thinker. I think of that as long-term versus tactical, nearer or shorter term.
Yeah.
Your mindset on what I'm reading into what you're saying, and certainly correct me if I'm not stating it correctly, is that somehow, some way, you will learn through all of this. It took years for you to do that, but you are going to, and I think it was John Maxwell where I first heard the term, but your mindset was one that you vowed to fail forward. Yep, it's you wish you hadn't experienced what you did. However, failing forward, you're learning from, and you're going to build on to, and your past misgivings, failings, you're going to build on that and make a better future. That's what I'm reading into your mindset.
Yeah, I don't know how else to do it. I mean, when you run out of options, all you can do is take the next step forward and do what needs to be done and have faith. And I learned during this period that more and more that I needed to trust God.
Yep.
And that almost sounds cliche, and it always sounds, like, yeah, trust God. Yeah, right. But until you are at your end of your rope and you have nowhere else to go, you don't know what it's really like to have to trust God. You really have to say, this is it. I can't, I can't do anything now. It's all up to you.
And what I'm processing what you're saying, Jim, because I've been there. I'm just going to, Lord, I'm going to lay prostrate and, not trample over me per se, but Lord, just take me apart and help me to learn where it is I need to become better. Now, Lord, put me back together. Now, set me on a path to take the right action. That's how I interpret this, Jim. And it may, to our listeners, that may sound almost cliche, as I hope not, but yet there is a point, total surrender. I give it up, Lord. Yeah. I give up on my own, being able to do all this. Yes, I'm a strategic thinker. Yes, I put my business together and so forth. But hey, Lord, it appears that I was missing something, and I'm going to learn through this. Jim, I don't want to suppose that I'm processing what you're saying correctly, but that's how I am processing it.
Yeah, well, I think that's pretty good. That's pretty good. There's a lot going on there, but yeah, essentially that's correct. I had to submit and surrender to God that I'm not in control. He's in control, and I had to let him do what he needed to do in me so that he could do what he needed to do with me.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you about a financial principle that you've learned from this. And it's, I think it applies to whether you're a business owner or not. But I'm going to use the expression, you have to know your numbers. In other words, are you on the positive? Do you have a positive cash flow or a negative cash flow? I mean, that's pretty simple terms in a way, but yet, I would you agree, Jim? Is it a principle of life, business owner, no matter what it is you're doing, that you cannot spend more than you're making, and you have to set aside money. You're not hoping for the famine, so to speak, the skinny cows. Marty and I are doing a study on Joseph. We know exactly what you're referring to, but yet you're prepared for. You're not certainly not hoping for, but you're prepared for those dismal times, or those times when the cash flow may not be what it is today, but you're prepared for the ups and downs because you have the capital set aside and you're exercising a financial discipline. I want to take a very brief moment to tell you about myself, the Cooper Culture, a certified veteran-owned small business. I am a retired lieutenant colonel serving the Air Force for 22 years as an F-4 pilot, commander. I have 300 combat missions. I specialize in executive leadership training, team building, and workplace culture, where we help businesses to develop a culture of loyalty, trust, and by developing personality traits and personal strengths, we can help identify those traits that support the company's objectives. We do this through half-day and all-day training shops. I'm also a public speaker where I welcome the opportunity to speak with your group to help you develop your team to the point where people are loyal and they know exactly how they fit in the organization and contribute to your strategic objectives. Through that, you will have a very profitable company in a psychologically safe space where people know they can freely discuss everything about the company themselves, and we are always working together to progress. Contact me at ron@thecooperculture.com. Our website is thecooperculture.com. Look forward to the opportunity to speak with your group, work with your group, to take your group to the next level to where we soar together. Let's work together. But Jim, I want to phrase that as a question to you. Am I pretty much summarizing what needs to be?
Yes. And knowing your numbers is really more than knowing how much cash there's in the bank. You need to know where you're headed, what's the trajectory, and what you're doing. That's why you got to watch the cash flow trends. And you can be perfectly profitable. I mean, I experienced this with Anderson Network, which was the business that I had in the 90s, with a fast growth. And it's typical in business that when you're doing business with other businesses that you give them credit, receivables, you carry the receivables. And that can kill a business when you're growing fast, because that's capital that you don't have access to. It's not cash that you can spend. It's sitting on your balance sheet and you don't have access to it. And when you're growing really fast, that grows, but not the bank account. And that's where a lot of businesses can get themselves in trouble and run out. So yeah, you have to know your numbers, not only your revenue and your profits, but you need to know your cash positions and your cash trends. And you need to know that you're profitable as well.
Let me ask you from a personal standpoint, but it's certainly in business as well. Credit cards. Do you necessarily have a problem with credit cards and either business or personal finances?
Yeah. I was a big Dave Ramsey fan while I had my business. And actually, I did Dave Ramsey courses. I got him started at Saddleback Church there in Orange County where we lived. Yep. And made the difference in hundreds of people's lives there. That was one of the ministry things that really got me moving after Anderson Network. But obviously not friendly to credit cards. But I tell you, I can't get into it here because it's just too much to talk about. But I learned a lot about credit card companies during that period of time. And here's what I have to say, just to summarize the whole thing. If you're a business owner, do not use your personal credit cards for any business transactions, period. Because the contracts can come back to bite you. If your business gets in trouble, that's how your vendors can cut through your corporate veil, through the credit cards, the personal credit cards. Only use business credit cards. And, if you cannot have the personal guarantee those, then don't let that happen. That's how they pierce the corporate veil.
Marty and I, we call ourselves the Cooper culture. I'm not here to promote ourselves, but the word culture, what I'm discerning from what you're saying, Jim, is that you're built on principles. And that's one of the things we emphasize with family members, business owners, leaders, operate on principles, values, that I'll never deceive anybody. And I think what you're saying about the credit cards, you've got to keep personal from business matters totally separated. And but in the context of know the numbers trends, that yes, am I spending more than I'm bringing in?
Right.
Anything
Right.
like that. Those are the kind of numbers that we just have to know. And I'm very curious, Jim. You did not declare bankruptcy. I'm assuming you could have. Was that a choice you made, or?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I had a board of advisors with my company, which was one of the smartest things I ever did. And on that board, I had access to a bankruptcy attorney that really only works with really big companies. This guy charged $600 an hour, and he could get more done in 20 minutes than any other attorney I ever dealt with. He was a bankruptcy attorney. And he, as a favor, worked with us to help us get through what we were doing. And he said, you don't want to file bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is not for you, it's for your creditors. It protects your creditors, not you. And you can do workouts. And he helped us do workouts. And it also helped us to make sure that the people who were working with us and being, I guess I would say, being better stewards of their business relationships were the ones that got paid, instead of what the bankruptcy court decided who needed to get paid. The people who sued us never saw a dime, because they went straight to the courts and tried to sue us for what we owed. And because of that, negotiation just broke down. There was no way to settle it. So it's like we had to go through the lawsuit. By the time the lawsuit's done, well, the corporation's gone, doesn't have any assets. So the principle there was that we wanted to do the best that we could to resolve our commitments with everyone without getting the courts involved. And that allowed us to make the value judgments in who we worked with and who we didn't.
Wow. So, Jim, what is today for you that you have, through some number of years, you've recovered from the past? And it again, for our listeners, it sounds like you definitely learned from the past, and you are now on the good side. So what is today and forward?
Well, now I'm living in Denison, Texas. I'm out of California. We escaped California. And I am now working as a CFO advisor independently. Recently left Robert Half, and working to work with small business owners on a strategic level. So moving forward, I have this vision of being able to take the experience that I have, and especially over the years that I've worked with Robert Half and other small businesses, and been able to understand more of the mindset of what's going on in various industries, and being able to figure out there are 16 parts to every business that we need to pay attention to. And that's what I'm going to help every business owner. They can get this these numbers, these 16 numbers that drive their profits, the revenue, and their cash flow, and get that right, they will have a stable business and be able to stay in business. And in combination with that, I also got my when I went to seminary, I got an ordination as well, and so I've made it a life mission to help other business owners become better stewards. And that's so I have a YouTube channel now. I have my own podcast, and I'm working at building that just so that I can help people. And I'm up retirement age now, so I'm not trying to go out and build another $100 million business. I just at this point, I just want to leave a good legacy and help other people learn the lessons that I learned without having to go through what I went through.
See, I think that's a great part of failing forward, learning from the past, and you're not a victim of the past, as I frequently tell people. But Jim, clearly you do not have the attitude of victim of the past, but I'm going to use another V word, a victor, or over the past. And yep, took some time to learn from, overcome, and so forth. But now you can, through these 16 indicators, financial indicators, my guess is you have some key performance indexes you can help businesses with. And these are the numbers you need to be looking at. And you can know on a pretty much a real-time basis exactly what your financial health is. And again, I don't want to suppose that what I'm saying is accurate, but is that somewhat accurate what you do?
That's pretty close. I still need to do the financial analysis for them. Most business owners are not numbers people. They still need a numbers person to be able to read the story in the numbers. But I'm able to make it simple so that they can make their strategic decisions and set goals each month on what needs to change so that they can be moving in the right direction and meet their goals ultimately with the business.
I want to ask you a very personal opinion based on your background. You mentioned that business school graduate, but you did not learn. And, and that is a general statement. For the listener who might say, I'm a young entrepreneur, I want to start my own business. Are you an advocate of mentorship or some sort of bringing up like that? In other words, can you learn more through an internship type of thing, working with a business partner who's willing to be a business partner and maybe learn more and better that way than through school? And I'm not here to denigrate school. That's not my point.
Yeah. You learn all the theories and the concepts in business school, but when it comes down to implementing things, you definitely need a mentor, somebody who has done what you're trying to do and can communicate the realities, and also to help hold you accountable to what you do need to do. It would have been great if my mentor had been able to teach me that I needed to not abdicate the sales side of the business to my business partner, because I'm paying for that today. I don't have those skills like I should. And that's why a mentor is key. And if you have a business, one way to get multiple mentors is to put together a board of advisors and meet with them once a month and have them help you make the strategic level decisions in your business, and the contacts that they have too. They could put you in touch with people that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get to, that can make the difference between success and failure of your business.
I want to ask you, for the young enterprising entrepreneur who's listening right now, would you consider in some form mentoring a person? And I don't mean necessarily long term, but for the person who says, I can learn through Mr. Anderson, his background and so forth. Would you be open to discussing with a young entrepreneur how to get started and so forth? As your primary business seems to be a fractional CFO, but I can just envision there's some young entrepreneurs listening right now and say, wow, if I could just get some tips from Mr. Anderson, I think I could benefit a lot from that. And is that something you would even consider, Jim?
Yeah, I already have. And in fact, I've put together a school community called Psalm Tree CEO Mastery, where I am seeking to do just that kind of thing in a community of young entrepreneurs, people who want to learn. So I've got courses in there on how to do all the things that a CEO needs to do. And as I'm building up this community, the plan is to be able to mentor and maybe even coach small business owners that are growing, want to grow their business and learn. And I want to be able to do that with the kind of value system that I have, so that I can show people that you can be successful without cheating.
No, that's very well said. Jim, how would a person contact you? What is your website or any other method to contact you?
Well, my website is www.psalmtreecfo.com. That's PSALM, like the Bible book, psalmtreecfo.com. And the community on school, you can find that by searching for Psalm Tree CEO Mastery. And that I have a URL goes directly to it, psalmtreeceomastery.com. So that's another way that you can get to me, and actually getting into the community is a way to get direct access to me because I'm running that community.
Great.
I wanted to go back to the board members. If you're familiar with the DISC personality, would you try and find all personalities to be on your board? Someone's saying, oh, he said a board member. So how do I pick them? Do you pick personality wise?
I didn't think of it in terms of personality. I thought of it more in terms of function. So my advisor members, I had one that was a CPA for the financial side. I had one that was experienced in marketing, and I had one that was experienced in the IT training industry. And I got to their contacts, that way as well. But I also had specific insights in these different functional areas of the business that we could think at on a strategic level. So it was more functional for me.
But at the same time, you think about a CPA and a technical person, they all have different personalities. And so that's
right.
what I was
and it kind of worked out that way because the CPA was very, very, numbers oriented type person. The marketing guy was very creative. So, we had different mindsets, and the industry experienced person knew what was going on in the industry, and technical kind of guy. And so, it kind of worked out that way because different personalities are attracted to different functions.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, Jim, you have had a great life, a great future, and I'm sure in a strategic thinking ahead type context, you never would have designed what happened, but yet you certainly became victorious over it, because of it, through it, and now you're living a great life. And thank you for being a victor over the past and passing forward what you've learned. And this is what I think it's all about. Passing forward our evaluated life experiences. That's exactly what our listeners need to know. And Jim, I want to thank you for being willing to share your past, and certainly not a failure by any stretch, but you gain from everything that you've experienced. That's the thing that is defining for you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed this.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate it.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our and our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com. thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.
A BetterHelp ad. Therapy isn't just for times of major challenge. It's a valuable tool for anyone wanting to improve their well-being. It can help you develop healthy coping skills, set boundaries, and support personal growth. BetterHelp makes it easy to get matched online with a fully licensed therapist right from your phone. No commuting, no waiting rooms. And you can switch therapists at any time. Sign up at BetterHelp.com and get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com.